Let me tell you a story about a little girl and a big dream. No, just kidding. She wasn't that little. She was in her 20s-ish, but she had dreams of being a big actress. Went to all throughout school, high school, early college. It was all theater and plays and stage setup and makeup. And she went to a trade school in high school from the nearby college. So it was a career center program in radio, TV production, and learned how to do all of the podcasting on the big soundboards and broadcasting, camera usage, lighting, as a great gaffer. Was intending on going into film. And then got involved in the wrong kinds of people, sadly, specifically the wrong kind of boyfriend, and got into some trouble and got pregnant very young, and was able to use all of that training in theater, in acting school, and the Career Center program and all of that to entertain people waiting tables for a decade, raising little kids. And years later, discovered narrating audiobooks and voiceover. See, it's like this girl loved books and would read and read and read and went through all of the huge fantasy tomes of everything George R.R. Martin and The Witcher and, Brandon Sanderson and Dune, and got all of them. I don't know, just any book that they could get their hands on. Obviously, at this point, it's me. Okay, I'm telling a story about me. But when I discovered voice acting online, I thought that this was my chance to finally put all those acting skills to use. And it was a real struggle getting into voice acting, because one of the things that they don't talk about when you go on, listen to all these gurus online about how to be a voice actor, is just how incredibly disheartening it is to be rejected so many times. I mean, in the beginning especially, it's 20 rejections to one yes, and then that yes is really small, or the project doesn't work out, or you don't get paid. There's all kinds of problems. But I did everything wrong. Looking back now, listening to some of my first performances, it was bad, like really bad. I mean, I had some acting potential, but I wasn't really into the character or the scene. I didn't sound natural in my take. My audio quality was horrible, and I'm surprised that I even got a job, let alone was able to continue with it and make it a career. I noticed recently, so now that I'm on the producer side of things, looking for voice talent to come onto my projects, and I just recently hosted a really huge casting call for Space Punks, and we brought in over 300 plus people, hundreds of auditions, and I heard the same thing that I hear in my first takes as a voice actor, where there's people with great potential. They're passionate about it and they're really getting into the character, but they just need that step up. They need that little bit of knowledge where, just how to get into the scene just a little bit more, or how to sound just a little more natural than delivery, just barely. Or their audio quality really is something I can't work with. And I bring people in even when they have poor audio quality and just talk with them about how to improve if they're really great. But sometimes it's so bad, I'm like, I don't think you even have a mic. Anyway, but these things are so important to know as an early voice actor especially. But even if you've been in the game for years, I mean, there's people who have been in film for a decade or stage for most of their career, and then they're coming into voiceover and they don't understand, like, I'm a way better performer than the other people I'm hearing. Why am I still not booking gigs? And they don't realize it's because their audio quality is so poor, or that it's just a little different. Like, you're not hearing it in the voice in the way that you need to. There's a bridge between, say, stage and voiceover, that you have to talk with someone who's had experience to know how to step into that world and how to bring the acting into your voice in a whole new way. Oh, and one of the things, of course, is as a stage actor, you're usually really loud. You have to be really big in your voice to carry across the theater, and then you have to tone it way down in the booth. how do you do these things? It's not as intuitive as you think. Most people, I think, they're like, I've got it and I'll figure it out as I go, or I'll watch a YouTube video and it's no problem. Listening to someone who's been there that can help guide you in these early steps is so key. And this is what I wish I had when I was starting out. There were so many struggles, even with all the great tutorials online of how to improve sound and how to get into voice acting. It just wasn't what I needed. I needed more like one-on-one mentorship and hearing from people who were successful in their careers, teaching me like the real brass tacks, like the hard aspects of it too. Not just, no worries, you've got this. Just do this to your booth and you'll be fine. Anyway, not to disparage like the online tutorials, they're great. But I decided after sifting through so many auditions that I wanted to be able to give back to my community in this way. The things that I wish I had, not only starting out, but later in my voiceover career, from people who know how it's done. They're successful in their careers and they're doing this right now. They're not giving tips willy-nilly. They're giving the tips that they had to struggle with, that they learned from, that they know you need to. And I wanted my voice talent and the people that I was bringing into the sphere of Arcane to have access to the same kind of knowledge. And it's not something I'm comfortable doing most of the time. I'm not going to go on my chats with my community and say, look, I love you, but I really need you to like tone it down here, or I need you to really get into the scene better here, or I just really can't work with your audio. And you have great potential, but you're not networking properly. No one's going to discover you, or you're doing it really adsy, or not actually getting involved in communities. There's so many of these kinds of tips I would never be comfortable actually saying to people directly, because I don't feel like that's my role, and I don't, it's uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, instead, I'll reach out to the people that I would love to learn from in this space that I think would be the best to share their knowledge to the VO community, especially the VOs interested in this space in audio drama. So yeah, I am creating the Audio Drama Guild with other producers in this space, and it's going to be a hub for education on these topics, and we're hosting our very first workshop for VOs. And I wanted to introduce it and share the idea with you, and I'll be telling more about the guest speakers in the next few days, but please check it out. I will include the link in the comments. Thanks. Bye-bye.